disaster must come. At best, only postponed. Shaolin Kung Fu, to survive, must now be taught to more young men.
Once again to another episode of Fists, Kicks, and Flicks, the podcast about martial arts, movies, and life. I am one of your hosts, Eugene Plowden, and with me, as always, my podcast partners, Joe Hartley and Angel Diaz. What's up, fellas?
What's up?
What's up?
If this is your first time with us, I want you to know we are members of the Martial Arts Center Network. On Mondays, we got the Winner Circle with myself, Angel Diaz, Chris Walker, and Isaiah Gatherings. Tuesdays, you got the Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. Wednesdays, you got the traditional way with Brett Shumway, and Thursdays is us, Fist, Kicks, and Flicks with Gene, Joe, and Angel. For more information, you can check us out on all of our social media platforms. Just look for the Martial Arts Center Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Fellas, it's showtime. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
What's up, man?
A whole lot going on, man. I got a new bit at work, so
Did that all work out for you, or are you still waiting?
No, it worked out pretty good. I'm off Monday, Tuesday now, and I got a level 5 bid, so it's a little extra money. So, because I was currently level 4, so now I got a level 5 bid, so it helps.
Okay. Does that having Mondays off and Tuesdays, is that better than Tuesday and Wednesday?
I was hoping for like Sunday, Monday, Saturday, Sunday, but later on down the road, I'll figure it out. So.
How long do you have to wait before you can bid again?
I can bid again the next round, so it'll be 2 weeks, and then the everything that people bid off of will go up, and then any bids that didn't get bid on at all will go up too. So we'll see.
Okay, so there's still a chance you can get something else off.
I doubt anybody's given that up, but we'll see. I mean, I'm always looking just to see what's going on and see what I like and all that stuff. So this one worked out only because, like, at my other area that I was working in, the days off didn't bother me, but I was the lowest seniority in that area. So, like, if they were only going to run a certain amount of people that day, so there's like 12 of us in that area, but they only need 5 for one machine. If they didn't run 2 machines, I was just getting moved around. And so it was kind of bothering me because I'm like, when you have a bid, you're supposed to just come in and do your bid. And when they're just moving me around all day, it made me felt like a contractor again. So this way, I don't got that problem. I come in, I do the same thing, I go home. So that's what I wanted. I just like the consistency, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, other than that, I think I talked to Gene about this. We're trying to get my aunt's place sold. So that'll be one less, my mom, she just doesn't want all that on her plate right now. So we're just trying to help her out. We're doing some painting over there tomorrow to help out, and then they'll put it up and hopefully it'll go quick. It's not, it's just a 1-bedroom condo. So in Royal Oak. So
that could be something that y'all can turn into an Airbnb.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
I mean, Royal Oak. People want to stay in Royal Oak. It's not like it's someplace
passive income.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, Royal. Because there are things. Especially for like the Dream Cruise, there's definitely going to be people here looking for a place to stay over the weekend. And Royal Oak is right there where the Dream Cruise is. Like, you're not going to be far from the Dream Cruise, so that would be a good thing.
Yeah, I'll definitely. That's a good idea, man. I'll look into that to see, like, if it stays up on the market too long. Maybe that's just our best bet.
Yeah. What's
up,
up,
Angel?
Angel?
I got a really easy week.
Angel, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
I said, "What's up, man?"
Oh, he was still talking.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You're good.
Nothing much, man. Just chilling.
Sound like your microphone is down low.
No, I'm sick.
You're sick.
Yeah. So I've been.
It's not even school. It's not even school season.
Don't even matter, bro. I think I got bronchitis or something. So.
Any of your students been sick?
Mm-mm.
Oh well.
So I don't know what happened. I haven't been able to shake this cough. I've been coughing so bad that my stomach's been hurting. So.
All right. So if you didn't get it from your students
Uh-huh.
and you're not working, the only other place you could have gotten it from is Jeff's tournament, huh?
No, I could have got it from the gym or something. I don't know. I mean, it could be
B-dubs.
things.
There you go. I forgot about
But yeah. So that's really all I've been doing, man. Just been trying to feel better as best as I can. But that's it.
that. Gotta suck to be sick during the summertime.
Heck
I don't
yeah.
know how it's been in Connecticut, but it's been hot as hell here in Michigan.
Oh, it's been hot, bro.
It's been
Listen,
hot
man,
there too.
I told somebody, I said, this that type of hot that like my great grandfather was in. Like this ain't that. This is a different type of hot. This is not there. So it's hot. It's hot, hot. So yeah, man. That's all that's been going on with me, man. What about you?
Oh man, nothing much, man. Just, trying to plan for this vacation. I think we finally narrowed that down. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to head out in a few weeks. Nice little road trip. Uh, Other than that, that's that's pretty much it. It's like we're busier during the school year. Now summer's here. It's like, oh, what's going on? Nothing, nothing. Just been chilling, you know. It's all good though. It's all good.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what? I am gonna have to do. I'm gonna start spending some money soon, which I'm not really not looking forward to it, but I'm gonna have to get my central air looked at here at the house. I'm gonna have to buy another refrigerator this week. I gotta buy a refrigerator because I think the one that we got now is on its last leg. So it's best to get rid of it now before it completely goes out and then we're asked out. So I'm gonna have to go get one. And I told Melissa, we're coming up on 4th of July week. There's always holidays at these damn appliance places. There's always some
Oh
type
yeah.
of sales and things for those holiday sales or whatever. So we'll be able to find something nice and reasonable at one of these damn places. So we're gonna have to do that, and it's time to start doing. It's summertime, so it's time to start doing some repairs, man. So I got to get my guy to come back out here to take a look at this bathroom, to get this shower looked at, and then I can finish, or somebody's going to finish painting this hallway that I got to get painted. Like I said, I was all ready to paint this damn hallway last year, and when the guy was here, he said I gotta bust open this wall. And when he said that, I said, "Well, I'm not painting because if I paint, that means I gotta paint again after you do whatever you got to do. So I would rather just wait." And as a matter of fact, I think I'll just wait and have somebody else do this shit because I really don't want to do it anyway. So I'm probably just gonna go ahead and hire somebody to come in here and finish painting this hallway because they got to go up the steps. I can't paint. I can't paint the ceiling over the steps. There's no way I'm going to put a ladder on the steps and try and paint. That's not happening. That's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna have to get a professional anyway. So I might as well just let them come in and do the ceilings, the ceilings throughout the whole house. Just go ahead and take care of that, and you know, the joys of being a homeowner. You'll see, Angel. Can you imagine? I hope Joe, we are still doing fists, kicks, and flicks when Angel becomes a homeowner, and because he is going to be bitching at us. He is going to be complaining about so much shit that you don't even know you don't know, so you can't even ask us right now. Some shit just pops
Yep.
up. You're gonna be like, "Did you know?" We're gonna be like, "Yeah, yeah." Angel's gonna be calling us about home repairs. He's gonna be calling us about marriage and stuff.
Professionals.
Yeah, so it's all right. Your boy's got your back, Angel. Ain't nothing to worry about, man.
Hey, good to know. Good to know. We should.
All right,
100%.
so since it's been kind of slow in our home lives, I guess we could jump right into the movie.
Hey, listen, man. It's summertime. Let it be slow. We don't need none of that crazy shit going on in the summer.
Yeah,
This is
ain't nothing crazy going on right now, man. And
that
yeah,
way.
nothing at all, nowhere. So, oh, are we supposed to be doing Inside Scoop tomorrow?
I was gonna ask you guys, what are we doing? Doing it out here, like people. If you want to find out, tune in tomorrow. You'll figure it out. Okay, we're over here doing it. We're doing this on live. As if, like we'll figure it out tomorrow. And, hey, it's gonna be
Well, it
funny.
doesn't matter because these people are going to hear it. It's going to be
I was
Thursday when these
about
people
to, I was
hear
about to
it.
say it's gonna be funny. By the time this comes out, we would have already done it or not done it.
Yeah.
So go back and make sure
Pretty
you listen
much.
to Inside Scoop just in case.
See if we were on. Maybe we were there. I don't know.
It's very possible.
All right. Notorious Nick. This this was an interesting movie. Um,
I agree.
and I think this is one of the purest movies that I've ever seen. Because you know how sometimes when you watch a movie or a television show, there's the A story, then you got the B story, you got the C. This had no B and C
It was just
story.
one story, and that's
It
it. The
that
story.
was it. He didn't have a love interest. Cause I when I watched it, I was like, okay, the girl wrestler is gonna be his wife. That's what I was thinking. Her ass didn't even come back up throughout the whole movie at
Nope.
all. Nothing.
This movie was simple. It was kept the
It was
simple
very
point.
simple, very
Straight to the
simple.
point.
Now, Angel, when you first told us about it, you said it was a documentary, and but it wasn't. It was more so a biopic. So I was expecting something different
Listen,
when
to
I,
be honest with you, I thought it was a documentary. I just
yeah,
thought it was like how Netflix does like I don't know, like a biopic documentary, like a reenactment, but it's like an
mm-hmm,
accurate reenactment, like the Ted Bundy stuff or whatever, right?
mm-hmm,
Like that's what I thought it was, but this is just like based on a true story. That's all it is.
yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah,
Now, this was your coach, right? This is your MMA coach, right?
yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Now, did you ask him how much of this movie is true?
Oh, he don't even know that we did this.
Oh,
I did that
okay.
on I did that on purpose in case we bring him on later. Then or for the winner's circle, either one. At
Mm-hmm,
least like we saw it, so now it's kind of like a cool thing
mm-hmm,
to talk about. There are a few things that I know just from me training there this past year, and we have a pretty good relationship. Like we have good talks and everything, especially from like a school owner's perspective. We like sometimes just talk about just owning the schools. So there's some stuff like that was in the movie that I know is a bit fabricated. Like it's not, may not, or there's stuff that they just didn't say. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, so there's stuff like that. But all in all, it is pretty like close to the way everything went down.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Um, there was a death in the movie.
I listen. I don't know. I want to ask him, but I don't know how to go about asking him. So I want to. The reason why I say that is because like I swear, like the other night when I was just training, he just talked about how like all like his closest friends have never trained before. So when I saw that, I was like, well, I mean that's different. So I don't know if that was something they added in or what. I really don't.
Well, what I was gonna say was I saw that coming
Yeah,
when
yeah, me too. Me too.
as soon as they
100%.
walked outside and he was standing there looking at the bike. I said, "Oh, that's it. He's out of here. This guy's ain't gonna be. He ain't gonna be here at the end of the movie." That was the first thing I said. So you caught it
100%.
too.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, I knew that was gonna come. I was just trying to remember as I was watching it. I was like, did he ever mention this guy to me before? Or I never really heard him talk about him, so I didn't know.
Hmm.
Even with the bullying situation, I never really heard much of that. So I don't know if those are things that were added in to give the movie the more cinematic experience, but that's something I want to ask him though.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. Which one of you guys want to lead this?
Joe, do you want to? You want me to?
Well, yeah. I mean, you can. Can you do it with you being ill or whatever?
Barely. I what I could do is I could just fill in and like say some stuff that maybe weren't in the movie that will give a better context. I could do
Okay.
that. Yeah.
All
That's
right.
fine.
Now,
All
did you
right.
guys both watch this on Tubi?
No, you
I
watched it.
started to. I started to, and I hate those commercials, so I just rented it.
Okay.
I rented it. I rented it, but I rented it because for good faith and support. That's why I rented it. So
I watched it on Tubi only because it was the first option. Because I looked it up on Google to see where I could watch it, and Tubi was the first thing, so I just went ahead and clicked it. The commercials weren't that bad. They weren't long commercials, like maybe 15 seconds, 20 seconds. They weren't long at all. They showed one commercial and then it was right back to the movie. So I didn't really, notice it. But took a look at my phone, looked something up real quick, and I was back to the movie. So it did not bother me at all. Okay. Well, go ahead, Joe. Let's kick it off then.
All right, so we start off. We got an MMA fight, and for those who don't know, Notorious Nick is he came up as an MMA fighter and a wrestler, and he's missing a hand. So he's literally, he's down a limb, and he's got the story goes through like the stuff he went through with all that, and
So,
so they show a fight, and we don't know what this fight is.
hmm
And it's not looking good for him in the fight. And then they go back 15 years to when he was a kid.
so one thing that I wish they would have explained that they didn't explain is like he's missing like his forearm and hand and wrist. He's missing like all of this.
mm-hmm.
I really wish they would have explained. Was he born that way or was there an
birth defect.
Okay, it was okay.
I was
So
gonna say
they
it
did
seems
not.
like a birth defect.
Yeah, because they didn't explain it in the movie, so I was wondering. And then I didn't find out that it might have been a birth defect until he was talking with his dad. But up until that point, they didn't even leave. They didn't give us a hint as to what had happened to his arm.
So they go back 15 years, and he's a kid, and he's getting picked on. Like this kid is trying to rip off his prosthetic.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I hope this isn't real, because this is like, who does that?
Yeah, I've never seen
Me neither.
anything like that.
A kid like that deserves to get his ass beat.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. Honestly,
Like,
somebody
crazy.
in my neighborhood, somebody would have. Like, nobody would have just. Nobody would have let nothing like that happen.
No one's letting that slide. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, bro. Like, I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, especially like over here, like I told you guys, like where I taught at, like it's like one of like the worst parts in Connecticut. Like even that, other people would be like, "Nah, we're gonna jump him." Like, there's no way. Like you might not be able to show your face again if you do something like that. Like that's like a.
It's just, I mean, that's to me, that's almost the equivalent of like picking on a kid in a wheelchair. Like,
yeah,
what is wrong with you? What is people do? But people do that. So I guess people do that, which I don't understand. Yeah. I know, but I don't understand this generation of kids. Like, who are your parents? I guess that's where I'm at the age now. That's where I go. Who are your parents? Mm-hmm. Because like, where did this come from? My kids would never do something like that because they know at home they would have to deal with me. I'd be like, what? I didn't teach you how to act like that.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it blew my mind. So, but the good thing was another kid named Abby came up to his rescue and basically, saved him from the situation, fended off the bullies. And Abby kind of does this throughout the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even when he shows up to the house for the first time, because they have a collective interest in wrestling.
Pro wrestling.
Who's that wrestler? Yeah, who's the wrestler? Bubba something?
Yeah, I think those were just made up for.
I was gonna say I did not recognize that wrestler at all.
I think the wrestlers were either made up for the movie or they were local talent for that area that they're in. Because I've never heard of them on TV or anything.
So when Abby shows up to the house for the first time to hang out and play with Nick, the mom is like overjoyed. Like apparently, like he's never had a friend before. I guess I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but which is crazy because I mean he's not a weird kid. He's just missing a piece of his hand. Like, okay, cool. You could still high five. Like, come on, man. Like,
You
I don't understand that idea. I don't understand the idea. You're like, oh, he's missing something. Like, we can't hang out with him. He's the weirdo.
yeah, you keep saying hand, but to me it was more than a hand.
It's not his hand.
Well, okay, what do you want me to say? His
Arm.
he's missing a limb.
Yeah, it's almost
But
from like
some of
his
it's
elbow,
there.
like
It's
his
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 forearm.
elbow is almost like
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be really honest with you right now.
Oh,
I
Jesus.
don't want to call it a stump. Okay,
no
I
my.
just that's what I'm saying. I don't want to do that. So
I
I'm
would
gonna
just
say he's missing a hand.
I would have said like from he's missing the forearm because you can't have a
Okay,
hand with if your forearm is
okay. Well,
gone.
now we
So
know. Now we know.
yeah, I would
Listen,
still say forearm.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
because this is the only reason I'm saying I'm trying to make a distinction is because if you're just missing the hand, but you still got most of this form, I think you can do a little bit more. But when you
I'm
have
gonna tell you,
all of
man.
this gone, like man, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm watching him wrestle, and I'm like, I don't know if I would have had the mental ability to stick with that if I did not have a
Oh,
forearm, because that
you're
has to be
not wrong.
challenging.
You're not wrong.
That has to be
Because
so challenging to be a wrestler with. I mean, because even if you have a forearm and you're just missing your hand, I think you could do a little bit more. But having all of this gone,
yeah,
man, that's hell, shit. Mm.
and then turn wrestling into MMA.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
see, that's an amazing journey. Now I'm gonna tell you, people with this kind of disability, because I don't. There's a lot of people I follow on social media because I'm amazed by this stuff. Like there's a person, they have no arms whatsoever, and they
Hmm.
do everything with their feet. And then there's another guy who literally only has like, and they're deformed as well, just elbows.
Hmm.
And the stuff, like he goes and he opens boxes, he orders food, and the way they learn like how to do stuff
Hmm.
blows my mind. Because I'm thinking in my head, like, I fumble around with my stuff with regular hands, and
Hmm.
these people are using their feet. Like the it's crazy to me the way that. So watching him like brush his teeth and a couple other things, later on eating a steak, the way
Hmm.
he compensates is really cool. The way they learn how to do
Hmm.
this stuff, and they don't want help because they want to do it on their own. And that's, I think that's a big part of things. Like you got to do stuff, and then
Hmm.
to go above and beyond that, above and beyond your limits. Which, by the way, his mom killed it. I hope his mom was this exact character. I'm really hoping that, because
Has
to
she ever
me
came into the school, Angel?
that's the way
His
you're
mom.
supposed to parent. That's the way you're supposed to parent.
So she has come. You met his mom.
Yeah, she's like that in the movie.
Mm. Does she work at the school?
I think so. I've seen her there on certain nights. She does.
She seemed based on the movie, she seemed like the type of person that would have been there, like
Like,
running the front desk.
where's the front desk? Yeah.
Yeah, front desk, sales manager, any of that type of stuff. Okay.
So then the next part we see them, they've grown up a little bit. It looks like they're in high school probably,
Hmm.
and they're goofing around, and they're a coach. You have to assume it's a wrestling coach because he posts up a wrestling trial. Now, I never had to try out for wrestling. When I joined wrestling, now you right away they put you on JV, and then you gotta wrestle your way to varsity or try out for that unless there's a spot. But I've never seen like wrestling tryouts.
Hmm. I always wanted to
Well,
wrestle.
this is
That was not an option at any school that I went to.
this is where I think
Really?
this is where I think it got a little fabricated. So I don't know. So they never really talked about his coach and how he came in. Like if you notice, the coach for the wrestling tryouts ended up being his fight coach,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
But that's not the way it really went. I don't think, if I'm correct. Um, he is from like 10 minutes away from where I am. He went to high school like 10 minutes away from my house. So his fight coach is from Massachusetts. So
Okay.
that's where now the story like kind of where they do like the cinematic stuff.
Hmm.
So his high school when he was in high school and he wrestled, he always talks about how he lost his first 17 matches in a row, and like
They showed that in the movie because I
well,
don't think they showed him
but
win in the movie.
but they were showing it. I think they were showing it from I don't even whether it's high school or college. If it's college, then it's inaccurate. If it's high school, that makes sense. But I don't think that was his fight coach for high, or that was his wrestling coach in high school. I don't think so.
They didn't show
Okay.
any college in this that I can
No,
remember.
So that was the other thing. He went to college and he ended up being like a great Division III wrestler. Like he was a really good Division III wrestler.
no, they
That's
they didn't show any of his college at all. They
So
went
that's
straight from high school, and then I didn't even know he went to college because
that's
the
the
next
thing. They
time we
didn't
see
show it,
him, him and Abby are in a bar.
and it was 5 years
Yeah.
later, right? So that's
Yeah,
where
yep.
kind of get. That's where I say like, I think that's a little different. Because the way I understood the story was he was wrestling in college in Massachusetts, which is Western New England College, and that's a Division III school. And then he found the MMA school, which I think the way they found the MMA school was probably similar, I would say, to what was in the movie. But then
Yeah, that was crazy.
that's where he met Jeremy, which was the coach's name. And I've actually the guy Jeremy, his head coach who trained him for all his MMA fights, actually came to our school a couple months ago and like taught us and did like a class for us. So I met him. One thing they don't talk about with his coach Jeremy is I think he already had prior experience to before wrestling. I think he'd done other stuff because they were telling me to pick his brain because he did Taekwondo. He had a black belt in Taekwondo, and he's a really good Taekwondo kicker. Actually, like if you see the way he kicks and the way he does stuff, he does it as if he's a Taekwondo guy who's doing kickboxing or MMA. So they told me to pick his brain about it. So they never actually added that stuff in the movie. I also understand you got to fit his whole life story in an hour and 30 minutes. So there's things that aren't. I don't want to say they're not important, but like they take a back seat to everything else.
I don't even know what you would take out because that time went by fast,
Yes.
and like you said, like they missed some stuff. But if you take, I don't know what you would take out to put in what you just
Honestly,
said. So,
I don't think they're. I think they did it right. I think they kept the important stuff that we needed to know. Like
hmm
I think maybe it would have been like it would have added more context if you would have found like if it would have said like how he got hooked or like what he did in college to then lead him to MMA. But in all seriousness, like we didn't need to know that because the way they depicted it, that was his fight coach, and he went back to him. Like that's it. Like that's the way
Yeah.
it was depicted. So for us watching the movie, if I would have never known him, I would have said this makes sense. That's what I would have said. So
I wonder about the wrestling coach if maybe that was just his wrestling coach, but for the movie it looks better because there's no way a wrestling coach is going to teach you MMA just based on like looking at videos and stuff
but
like
and that's
that
why
would
I'm
be a
saying
lot.
and that's why I'm saying that. That's why I say like like that's why that coach, like sorry, coach, so to speak, they used him as like it was just one person throughout his whole life.
Yeah,
When realistically, like his high school coach and his college coach was completely different than his MMA coach. As far as
that
like
makes sense.
as far as how I know the story goes, like and what he told me, they're all different people. So yeah.
Makes sense.
where
But
did they have the same
this
name?
definitely seems better.
The coach in the movie, did he have the same name? Okay, so then that makes sense what you
Oh
just
wait,
did.
wait. The coach in the movie and the coach in real life.
hmm
Yeah, they gave him the name of his MMA.
Okay,
But like the other two coaches, they didn't add them in. So they just took what they basically did was like they just said who was the last coach you were with that helped you train for all the MMA fights. So for the movie, they said okay, we're gonna make him the guy that coached you your whole way coming up. That's the way
you
they're
know,
gonna tell the story.
man, that could touch some people's feelings in real life.
So
You know,
I hold on. In all seriousness, okay, like I was doing some research and like his friend actually did die in a motorcycle accident, which is really sad.
mm,
But a part of me was like really so you're saying that part of me was when I was watching it was like not saying it wasn't true because I don't want that makes me sound like an asshole. But I was saying like imagine if they fabricated the story in certain ways and imagine like how pissed off you would be if you were to go and see that, right? Um
Yeah.
I heard the story about like Moneyball with that whole the Oakland A's or whatever when
hmm
the way they made David Justice out to be like an asshole when he went to go see the movie in real life, he had like a little issue about it because he's like, that's not the way I really was. I actually wanted the team to win. And like the way the clubhouse was, that's not the truth. That's not the way it was at all. So
I get that, and I've heard that stuff when I've talked to people who've been in movie situations, but I'm talking about an actual real person that got left out of the movie that did some stuff. Like he had two other coaches, but all they talked about was his high school wrestling coach. If I'm one of those other coaches, I would have been like, "Well, at
But
least
it's a better
I hope they would
story.
have. I hope they would have got a heads up. Hey, we had to cut your part, or we kind of morphed you with this other guy." But when he does the MMA fights, we do see two other guys in the background. We see the main guy. I don't know if you guys are paying attention to that. I saw two
Yeah,
other
I saw
guys in
it.
the back, but they didn't have speaking roles or anything like that. But go ahead, Joe.
So their first day at the wrestling tryouts, you know, there's the guy who likes to talk a lot, and then Abby's pretty good, of course, because in this whole movie, Abby seems to be like a natural athlete. And then Nick's first match or first tryout, he gets beat by a girl pretty quick, and everybody laughs at him and everything. And he goes home and he feels bad about that. I'm gonna say we never had any female wrestlers on the team, but we ran into a couple on the at the tournaments,
Mm-hmm.
and two of our guys got beat by girls, and we harassed them, and we probably shouldn't have, because the one girl was really really good.
Mm-hmm. If a female is on a wrestling team and it's full of guys, you have to think to yourself that these girls got to be good, or else they wouldn't be on the team.
Yeah, but you still don't want to lose to them
No,
because
I understand that. I understand that, but I would think that there would be even more pressure because now, like, you're expected to win. If
yeah,
you're the guy that's going up against a young lady, you're expected to win. And but as soon as you see a girl and Jimmy, he's the guy that is going to have to wrestle the girl. I would say you better take this girl seriously because why else would she be on the team? She must be damn good if she's on the team. Otherwise,
no,
they wouldn't have even let her be on the team.
one
You
hundred
know,
percent. No,
yeah.
earlier in the movie, Abby said something that kind of got me because he said his dad told him when he turned 16 he was going to buy him a Harley.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of money did dad come from is what I wanted to know, because they never really showed Abby's family. But sure enough, when he rolls up to school as when he turned 16 with a Harley,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, good for him.
Yeah, I
So
was. It was an older one though, because I think he said it was
yeah, but
70. It was 79. But yeah, it looked nice.
a nice little shovel head like that. Still, that's a nice bike. So the coach kind of took a shine to Nick because he says throughout the movie Nick's got a lot of heart, which you can tell that a lot. So he starts teaching him how to use his strengths to his advantage, and how to use the disability to his advantage as well. So he
Mm-hmm.
shows them what to do and how to do it, and the ways. And that's the thing about wrestling that's really good. There are a lot of different ways to use misdirection, to use takedowns. There's not just three ways to do something. So
Mm-hmm.
there is a lot of ways that you can use it to his advantage
So
and
let
stuff
me
like
ask you
that.
something. So you're the only person that I know of that I talk to regularly that was an actual wrestler. How many years did you wrestle?
I only wrestled 3 years, 3.5, something like that.
Okay. Um, a wrestling curriculum, is it just as long as a curriculum if you go from white belt to black belt? Like, is it that much information? Like, for instance, like boxing, there's only so many punches you can do. Now
Okay.
you might learn different type of things and things you got to work on to get good over 4 years or 5 years. But I mean, it can wrestling be broken down like karate and be stretched out like over 4 or 5 years?
No. Well,
Is it less?
maybe because here's the thing, wrestling. There's wrestling is like basically just a few things. You can learn takedowns,
Mm-hmm.
so you learn different takedowns to start with, but you also learn how to defend those takedowns.
Mm-hmm.
So there's different stuff like that. Then you learn there's multiple ways to pin someone you can learn,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's escapes. So those are the basics that you learn most of the time, and then you have to learn the rules. So
Mm-hmm.
what do you do when you're here? What do you do when you're here? What do you do after you get this? How do you get points? So you get points. If I take you down, I get 2 points. If you escape the takedown, you get 1 point.
Okay.
If you put someone on their back and you hold them there for 3 seconds, you get 3 points. But if you don't pin them, it's called back points. No, it's 5 seconds. It's a 5 count. If you get a reversal, so say someone's on top of me and I'm on the bottom, my objective is to get behind them, break them down. That's considered a reversal. That's 2 points. So
Mm-hmm.
these are the things you got to learn, and you got to learn in certain positions what you have to do to get those points or to get someone in a position to pin them. So in the pinning positions are kind of like MMA, where you have to break someone down and then you have to get, a certain kind of control.
Mm-hmm. Side
So
control, mount,
yeah, stuff
back
like that.
control.
I forget exactly what it was all the way because we had codes for it in wrestling,
Okay.
but it's all universal. So yeah, but the idea is if you're on the bottom, you want to reverse, break the person down, flip them over, and pin them. If you're on the bottom, if you're the one who's on the bottom, you want to, if you're on top, you want to break the person down, flip them over, and pin them. And then, so that's the basics. So, but there is a bunch of different ways to learn what to do
Mm-hmm.
in all those situations. So, but
So
there's not necessarily a curriculum because I went out there my first year. I only had 6 moves, 2 pinning, a couple of takedowns and an escape, and I only liked 1 takedown.
mm-hmm.
So
So if you never did any type of competitions, how long do you think it would have taken you to learn everything? If you never went to any, you just showed up for training. How long do you think you would have gone and pretty much learned majority of everything that you need? 3 years?
to be considered what, a master,
Yeah, or pretty damn good.
2.5, 3 years probably,
Okay.
I
Okay.
would think. But the crazy thing is, our best wrestlers, they were wrestling as kids, man. They had a
Yeah.
whole household of like brothers and stuff, and they knew a lot. They knew how to do this and that and that, and like everything when they were out there wrestling. If they had someone who was on the same level as them, it was like a chess match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen those.
Wherefore, I just wanted to pick people up and pin them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay. All right, let's keep going.
all right, let's see where we're at. Okay, so they've got a couple of practices in. Like I said, the coach has been working with him, and they always, in a lot of these things, they always showed Abby winning, and then had to be followed up by Nick,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was interesting. So Abby, of course, and Abby and Nick's mom were like his biggest fan.
Mm-hmm.
So then everyone's hyping up Nick, the except for the rest of his team's kind of against him, which is really crappy to me because if you're on the same team, to me, you got to support each other whether you like someone or not.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that should be the team mentality. So he goes out, he does his best, but he gets pinned pretty quick.
So, Angel,
Yep.
what grade was he in when he started wrestling? Was he in 10th grade when he started wrestling?
Freshman in high school, I think he said.
Freshman, okay, because they didn't look like freshmen
Yeah.
when
Well, I'm gonna be
when we
honest,
see them.
that person never aged at all. He looked the same age the whole time. Whether
Right?
he was a freshman or whether he was, 25 or 23 when he won the title. He
Right.
looked the
Listen,
same age the whole time.
have the budget for aging, okay?
Yeah,
No,
so,
they didn't. They didn't.
but yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he was a freshman in high school.
Okay. All right.
This
And the only
next
reason I
part,
asked, my bad, Joe. The only reason I
yeah, you're good.
asked that, only reason I asked that because in the movie it seemed like he improved in wrestling, and it seemed like he improved from wrestling from his first year to his second year. There was an improvement because he goes to camp because his mother uses her money that she was going to spend for school, which I don't know too many moms that would have did that. For wrestling, I don't know too many moms that would definitely would have spent her savings for her child to and go to wrestling camp for the summer.
Yep.
But and the reason I asked that is because they didn't show us what happened. We saw him beat the guy on his team, but we didn't see anything else how he improved in 10th grade or 11th grade or 12th grade. We
True.
just immediately just jumped ahead. And I know Angel, you said that he lost his first 17 matches,
Yeah.
but that could have been the first year.
Okay. Honestly, I think it was a mix between his first year and then his second year
Okay.
because he ended up going on to be all state.
Oh wow.
He
Okay.
ended up and a state champion. Again,
Okay.
all stuff they didn't talk about. So that's
Yeah,
why
they
I
didn't talk
say
about that in the movie.
that's why I say like now that I add the context, you could say okay, you can see why he went this route to MMA. Because if you would have known any better, you would say you lost all those fights. Why would you think you'll be good at MMA?
Yeah,
True.
yes, you're right, man. And it
You
was
know,
it was kind of bad storytelling because when they skip, we see him beat that guy in high school, and then they kind of skip ahead to 5 years, and him and Abby in the bar. It
and
kind of make it look like they didn't have anything going on with their life.
Yep.
I
You
would be
know.
honest. I thought the same thing also. So
Hmm.
that's why I say like, me filling in the little gaps. Yeah, he went on to be all state and a state champion. Like he,
That's kind of important. I
yeah,
would have thought they should have put that in the
because
movie.
because like I said,
Yeah. They,
if you
they
would
should
have done,
have shown that.
that's like you, Gene. I don't know. Let's just not even say like kickboxing. Let's just say you got a student in your dojo who's a yellow belt and did tournaments and wasn't good, and then out of nowhere, he stays with you, doesn't do tournaments, and then he reaches his black belt and he says, "I want to go to WKC Worlds." You're gonna look at him and be like, "Well,
Yeah.
let's baby step this now. Like that was the equivalent of like you didn't really win no matches the way the movie made it look, and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden you want to go be an MMA fighter. Like that's a huge jump. That's a
And
huge
that's
jump.
up until this second. That's what I thought happened up until
Yeah.
this second.
No. That's
Yeah.
not the way it went down.
Okay.
So
And it's good
I
that
like
you're
this.
explaining that for the podcast.
Yeah.
I like this a lot because the mom is super smart. The mom is always trying to figure out a way to motivate her son because she knows deep down what he can do, but he's always getting down on himself because he doesn't get instant results. So
Hmm.
she goes to a signing with Jim Abbott, and for those who don't know baseball, Jim Abbott was a very well known, very good baseball pitcher, and he was in the same situation as Nick,
He ended up
missing the
throwing
forearm.
he ended up throwing a no hitter for the Yankees. If people don't know,
Yep,
or no hitter or perfect game, one of the two. And
probably both.
And other thing is this. That's actually he actually met Jim Abbott, and that's actually he will say all the time that's his favorite athlete of all time. He also wanted to be a baseball player because of Jim Abbott. Um, and I
Makes
think
sense.
and I think Jim Abbott recently they came out with a movie about him, or they did something for him recently, and he had my coach go out and like support him and everything.
Okay.
So
I like that his first conversation with Jim Abbott. Jim asked him about, so you're a wrestler. He says, yeah, but I suck. And Jim tells him, I sucked in high school too, but I kept with it. So if you really
Hmm.
like this, if you really enjoy it, stick with it. That's the best information you can give because like you'll find out the same thing about Jordan. Jordan
Hmm.
in high school, they say sucked. And then look at
Hmm.
what he did. So you got to realize like you don't just get better at something by saying, "Oh, I suck at this," and move on to the next thing. If you like it and you want to do it, you just got to keep going.
Nowadays though, people look at that as wasting their time, and they'll quit at something. And we hear it all the time as martial arts instructors. You know, oh, they're not getting any better. They're not winning any tournaments. I'm just wasting my money doing this. Well, this type of everybody's not going to hit it out the park as soon as they put those pads on. Some people improve over time. It's a
Yes.
lot of kids that are like that. I definitely have some in my school who do not look. I would have never. Some of the kids that I have that are competitors, I would have never thought they would have been competitors. And then I have kids who I wish were competitors. They won't. They won't get on the mat. They won't go to tournaments. I should say. They just like training in the school. So all right, man, keep going.
So we get to this last match where he basically quit. Do we know what grade this is?
Uh, so this was. See, no, we don't know because, but they made it seem like this was after he had beat his teammate. That's what I thought,
Yeah.
right? This happened later, so it made it seem like he was a little bit like his second year is what they kind of made it seem like.
Oh man, that's crazy. If
I
he quit his second year,
No, that's how they made it seem. But just because he went to the camp, he went to camp after his first year. He went to camp. He came back and he was better. He beat the guy on his team, and then we see the tournament. This is how this happened, right, Joe? And then we see the
yeah.
tournament, and well, the competition, and then this happened. So but
Well,
they
there's
didn't break it up and say a year later or 2 years later or
yeah.
anything.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm just wondering because they're basically what happens is he's got a really good person he's got to go wrestle,
Yeah,
and then the team can go to regionals if he wins. So they already kind of put a lot of pressure on this guy, and he's gotten better, but they don't even show us the match. They just show
Mm-mm.
him walking out, and he lost because he's mad. And then he has a consolation match. He doesn't even go to that, and then you see he throws his helmet, and then he just walks away. So you're like, okay, he quit on the team, he quit on himself, and that's I'm like, frankly, I probably would have took that out of the movie if it happened like that. But now Angel's saying he was a state champ, so it makes no sense to me. Maybe he just walked away that day and then came back.
see
Yeah,
that's
but
the thing.
see, the
Here's the
coach
thing.
said something about it later when he
That's
goes
what I'm
back.
saying.
Yeah,
So is this edited for the movie? I want to know
had to
because
be.
that's a little crazy.
That's
Has
the
it been?
thing. That's why I was like very confused because when I saw that, I was like, man, I know this guy's story, so I'm like, I don't understand where this is all coming from. But I'm
Yeah.
also, I thought maybe it could have been one day, because like I said, like he went on to be a state champ. He went on to do these other things.
So yeah, so that sounds like some movie magic that they're trying to create a little drama, which is
or
fine.
or that this could have been actually, instead of it being his second or third year, it actually happened in his first year when he was losing all those matches. That could have been a thing. Also, they could have just took it out of place and you know did that for movie drama or whatever. Who knows?
So then we go 5 years later, and it seems like Nick and Abby kind of, were not hanging out as much, and then they decided to hang out with each other and catch up and make sure that they stay in touch with each other, and they're having a couple of beers, and Nick on his way to the bathroom runs into someone. The guy gets ready to fight him, and Abby, of course, comes to the rescue again, kicks the guy in the leg and puts him in a chokehold until he walks away, and then Nick was impressed. He was like, "Where'd you learn all that?" And Abby's like, "Well, it's a little MMA. There's this competition. If you win it, you can get $500." And he's like, basically, all these guys are strikers, so a couple of wrestlers should be able to handle them no problem.
One thing that I really didn't care for. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but it kind of made him seem like he had no other friends. And Angel is telling us that he has other friends, but this because we never see him with anybody else except for his mom, his coach, and Abby, and that's pretty much all we see him with throughout the whole movie.
And I think
He
that's
had
on purpose. I think they're trying to make him out to be like kind of like a lone wolf.
yeah, but I mean that's kind of sad. Like, come on now, like it's already sad enough the position that he's in. Like, you don't need to throw extra sadness on top of the sadness we already got. Like, I don't need the cherry on top.
I think they like.
I got a
I think
sad
they
Sunday
like
already. I don't
like the
need the cherry.
drama. Yeah, they like the drama that goes with
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. And then because, like I said, because we fast forward 5 years later, they're not at a picnic. Most of the time when we see 5 years later and we pick up a story and people are drinking in the bar, they had a hard life, and that's what we see here. And it kind of like, dang, like stuff's not going good for our hero. But I
Yeah.
don't know if that's true or not.
So Abby goes out and wins his fight pretty just like always. Abby comes through like he normally does, and then Nick goes out and he struggles a little bit at the beginning, but he takes the guy down and puts him in a chokehold and wins his match. And so you kind of see the guy running this promotion. He's pretty impressed with both of them.
Hmm.
And
Now, was
at
this
the
the fight that
end,
we saw at the very, very beginning of this movie? Was that this fight?
No.
I don't
No.
think so. I
Okay.
think that was
Um.
the championship fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Also, the
Okay.
other thing is this. I don't think that was the promoter. I think that was his agent.
Oh,
Okay. Because I don't. It was kind of
Listen,
confusing as to who
listen,
he
listen.
was.
I think they have him listed as promoter. Um, but at one point, it looked like he was more of an agent than a promoter.
Hmm.
So I honestly don't know. But I'm just saying, with the way it looked like it was more promoter than agent.
So, yeah, because at the beginning, like it seemed like he was the one that was putting together this tournament. It it was like a tournament, then again, it wasn't like a tournament because
he called it a promotion. It was a promotion to be able to take on. So you gotta get into the promotion, then you gotta win your fight, and then you become a fighter on that circuit.
but
So
see,
this is like Ultimate Fighter
yeah,
almost.
but
It's
see,
just
this is also what happened. Because Abby wins this fight, Nick wins this fight. The guy chose Abby to go fight for the $500. Abby and Nick didn't fight each other, and that
no.
they all just had one fight, and he just
Yeah,
selected who
I
he
thought that
wanted
was
to
weird.
go. Yeah,
Well, you gotta think he probably just did it based off of talent, like who had the most talent, who showed the best in their fights. Okay, so like, okay, put it like this, right? Let's say you have, let's say you have Dana White's Contender Series. They get in the UFC off of one fight. They don't get in off of, like, some people get in off of multiples, but most of the time they just see one fight and that's
Yeah,
it.
but this guy just picked someone. He made it at the beginning of the promotion. He made it sound like they were all gonna fight for one
yeah,
spot.
yeah. That's what
Yeah,
he
but
made it
then look
sound
at
like.
how big the difference was of how big the dudes were. At one
Yeah,
point, they
you're
looked
right
like
about that too.
they looked like it looked like he. At one point, it looked like Nick was fighting the goddamn middleweight. I was like, that guy don't
Yeah,
even
so
look like
I
lightweight.
thought it was going to be divisions that these guys were all in because I
Yeah,
was wondering was Abby and Nick going to have to fight each other.
that's what I
And
thought
then I
too.
thought like
Which
maybe they're separate
which should
divisions.
have happened, by the way. With all the drama they were already creating in this, they should have done that. I
No,
Mm.
was
because it would
waiting
have
for
been.
it.
You want to know? No, no, they shouldn't have. Because you know what it would have felt like. It would
Nick
have
wouldn't have
felt.
fought Abby.
No, no, he wouldn't have. But also,
No, I think it would have been the opposite. I think Abby wouldn't have took it to Nick
no,
the
but
way
I don't think they should
he
have done
could
that
have.
because it would have looked like never back down, and I don't think that's what they were trying to go for. So
Yeah,
like
Mm.
they were trying to make like how what we said in the beginning. This might have been the most pure MMA movie or just pure movie we've seen.
Just
Like
pure movie to me. Yeah.
a straight movie, right? Once you do that, that adds another layer that now people are gonna want more from. It was honestly, I'm glad they didn't do that. I thought they were, and I was gonna get mad if they did because I was gonna say like the
I
way
was kind of hoping for it, but
the
I
way
see your point.
that's because you like the toxic shit, Joe. So that's like that's because you like toxic shit. But like if you see like the way the movie was, the way the movie was like even being told, it wasn't like it had drastic ups and downs. Like it was just very like
No,
almost
true.
like mellow. Like it was calm.
Hmm.
Like you could follow the story. So for that to happen, it would have been like a big rift in the way the storytelling was going, anyways.
Um, Nick goes to meet his dad at the end of this, and I mean, it seemed like this was the first time he was meeting his dad because the dad walked out on him when he was a kid. I mean, maybe he met him a few other times, but the dinner was going kind of. It seemed a little awkward, and they got to talking a little bit, and then the dad started dogging his mom, which like that's the one person that when you're raised by a single mom, you can't dog that mom. That
Mm-mm.
kid will take you out. Like if
Hmm.
you want a relationship with your son, you can't do that, man. It's a mess.
Especially if you've never been around. He did. It wasn't like he had weekend visitations. From the way the movie was written, it seemed like this guy was gone the entire time.
So I mean, the relationship seems to get a little better towards the end. So I don't know how it is now. I mean, maybe Angel knows, maybe he doesn't. I mean, that's probably not something that just comes up in
I was about to
conversation.
say, be like, you'd be crazy if I'm gonna talk about that, and then have to go.
I
Spar.
know.
Then I
But
have to go spar him after we have the talk. Hell no, man.
but this is the part. So after he gets home, you can already tell like his mom is upset and it's not going well, and she has bad news. And of course, it's that Abby had crashed and passed away in a motorcycle accident.
I knew that as soon as they got done with the tournament and they were standing outside talking and they hugged each other. I said, "Nope, I'm not gonna see this guy again. This is it."
Nope.
Yeah. Hey, I hate saying it this way, but like it was a real Boys in the Hood type of ending to it. Like I kind of respected it. You know what I mean? It was like you just knew like, yeah, it was the last time we're gonna see them again. Like this is their last one. Like,
Yeah.
So the crazy thing is this opened the door, and the promoter came to him 2 days notice to take the fight in place of Abby.
Now
Because he said, I seen you work and I seen you this, but that could have really gone wrong because
Yes.
Nick was very upset and very sensitive at that time. I mean, yeah, the money, because he doubled the money on that because it was so close to.
Yeah.
But also to say like, oh yeah, I see you're gonna use me now instead of my best friend. But I mean, I get it from a business standpoint. The guy, he's got to come up with something.
What were you about to say, Angel?
So I actually did my research. I'm looking for it right now. So the that promotion, that MMA card, the one that he ended up fighting on 2 days notice. Now I don't know if it really was 2 days notice, but he did fight on that. He did replace Abby. That card actually ended up getting called Tribute, and that was because it was his tribute to Abby. That was the reason why he fought on the card. So that it was called XFC 15 Tribute, and that's the event was renamed as Tribute in honor of the dude Abby. So
That's fantastic. So they show him asking his wrestling coach to help him to be in his corner, and the wrestling coach, says, "I don't train quitters," which a little harsh, but okay. But I get it. I mean,
Based
that's
on the
hard.
story, based on this
Yeah,
story that they're telling, because
yeah.
obviously that's not how it really happened with Angel. What Angel said.
But the coach does show up to the fight, and you can hear the coach in the background going, "Wrestle him, wrestle him," which of course, yeah. But I mean, that's supposed to be your thing. But I don't know. He didn't look like he was into this fight. He kind of played into the other guy's hands, and it didn't go well, and he lost the fight.
okay, so stop.
And his mom was really upset. Go ahead.
That was not true.
So he won the fight?
Newell defeated Dennis Hernandez at XFC 15 with a dominant 71-second submission by heel hook.
So why would they not?
G got, now that I said, G already got pissed off. Now
No, I'm not pissed, but that's confusing as to why that wouldn't have been in the movie.
Here goes the best part about it. He ended up, that was the fight that made my coach go viral, and like why he became so famous even to this day is based off of that.
Yeah, I don't.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't understand why that wouldn't have been in the movie.
So
that's a tribute to his boy. Like,
why would you not honor that?
Yeah, why would you? Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
Here's one thing I will say, right? And this is something that they didn't put in there. And I knew this already. My coach, his first professional loss was when he fought for World Series of Fighting, and he fought for the lightweight championship. And his first loss and his only knockout ever was to Justin Gaethje.
Oh wow.
That was his 12th fight when he fought Justin Gaethje. He was 12-0 for World Series of Fighting. So when they said he lost, I went back. I was like, I could have swore he was like 12-0 before he lost. Like that didn't make no sense.
Yeah, they not doing that in my story.
Yeah,
that's not happening in my movie. I'm like, no, go back, rewrite that shit. Y'all got me what? Y'all got me losing. No, you got me fucked up. Is what you got me. We gotta change that.
Whatever. You know what? I see Gene's story more like this. Like Gene's, they got Gene on the ropes, and all of a sudden Gene gets the glow. He's got that glow, and then he comes back, and
I
wins the
can't.
fight.
You got me losing. You got me fucking
No, that is not happening at all. Like this is real life. Like there's no need of doing that. Like this is my boy's tribute.
Hey, you know what I can see G saying to producers and directors? Like, they could look this shit up. This is real, but
Right.
it's not like then I gotta walk around and I'm the liar. Like this can't it
That's
can't
not
happen
happening.
like that.
Nah, that's not happening.
Man.
So he's back at the bar. The coach comes up to him. They get to talking, and the coach decides. He basically tells him, "You should have won that fight. You played into his hand." Da da da. Da. But he's going to coach him now. But the funny thing is, like I said, he should have just been his wrestling coach, because he's like, "No, we're going to figure this out together. You're not figuring out MMA together. I don't care who you are." Not by watching TVs and reading books. Like, you're just not going to do it. But it was still cool the way they did it, because they did give us a little training montage. So I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's getting all his strengths going. He's learning how to, use what he has to his advantage. And he's doing boxing and MMA and some wrestling. And he goes through and he starts winning fights and becomes the number one contender.
Now, Angel, you would say that grappling is probably, out of all the MMA disciplines, grappling is definitely the hardest thing to learn.
So this is what I'm gonna say, man. This is what I found, and this is me personally. I see grappling as like karate. If you start late and you're trying to be competitive, there's so much to catch up on that there's almost to a point like you'll never be able to catch up on everything while someone else has already been doing it for however much time, right? Like
you ain't wrong about that.
However, like literally you could tell like some people are better than you, not because they're stronger, faster, anything, just because they have more mat time. Like the hours on the mat equals you're gonna get better, right? So I agree with that part. One thing I will also say though is this. If you it's what you go in first is what you're better at. So let's say you start off grappling, whether it's wrestling or jiu-jitsu, right? And you're doing that for, I don't know, let's say 3 years. And then you say, okay, I want to switch over and start doing some striking. Let me do MMA. The striking is going to be hard for you because you got used to doing MMA and jiu-jitsu where you don't have to worry about getting punched. You're just worried about getting a takedown, getting submitted, right? Opposite goes same thing for me, like with me and how I am when I go to grappling. I'm comfortable getting punched and kicked because I know I can get out the way. I know how to move. There's so many things I could do. But when I have to go to the ground, I have to go and do my grappling. I'm not confident because there's just so much I don't know. Or I may know how to do something really good, but there's so many defenses and reversals to it that I can't catch up to all of it. So I think grappling, yes, is hard because it's like karate in a way where it's like it's very systematic and there's like clear cut, like you have to go through orange belt, you have to go through yellow belt, you have to go through those things to get better, right? But I will also say it's what you go in first that will dictate what's going to be harder for you later on. So,
But if I'm gonna go into an MMA fight for the first time or first few times, I think I would rather be a wrestler other than instead of a boxer.
for an MMA fight, yes.
Yeah. I'd rather be a wrestler than a boxer.
Yeah. If I saw someone who's a pure boxer and I know they don't have any wrestling experience, I would say, all right, like, this is gonna be interesting. That's what I would probably
you got you. Yeah, it's gonna be a long day at the
I mean,
office.
that's old UFC days. That's the origins, and look at how that went down. So
yeah, but you know what? I can't really.
I know.
Only reason I'm saying that is
You're going
because
off on a tangent on this one.
no. Only reason I'm saying but they didn't put the best of the best boxers or karate guys in the first few UFCs. Those wasn't that wasn't Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield.
That's why I was just about to say. Like that's why I was like, I get it. Yeah.
But Randy Couture. Who did Randy Couture fight? James Toney.
James Toney.
He fought James Toney. So Randy Couture's a wrestler. James Toney's a boxer. There was not that big of an age gap between them two at that time when they fought. And he just took him down and dominated him.
Yeah.
Wrestling is. I got a different type of respect for wrestling.
Oh, it's hard, bro.
Oh
It's
yeah,
hard.
yeah. And I've never even done it, but I can tell. I mean,
It's
just
hard.
because of the little stuff I've done in jujitsu, having to do takedowns, it ain't easy. So I can only imagine, the type of stuff that Joe went through. As far as his techniques, and he has to have conditioning to do that. And if a boxer or a striker does not have that same type of conditioning, you're gonna be in some trouble.
It's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
So he works his way up to number one contender. His coach and him are sitting at a fight, and we figure out it's the championship fight. And he sees the guy for the first time, and he's like, "Oh, he don't look so tough." But then the guy goes out there and just dominates. So he's like, "Okay, well, looks can be deceiving, and you should know that." So he goes to talk to the guy afterward, congratulates him on a win, and then he says, "It's going to be an honor to fight you." And the guy says, "I'm not going to fight you."
Yeah.
Like, what? And they're basically saying one, he got gimme fights to put as like a promotion to put people in the seats and sell more tickets. And then he's also saying that there's no win. It's a lose-lose. If I beat you, I just beat a one-armed guy. Or if I lose to you, I just lost to, which is dumb because it's like, okay, but
Actually,
he
I
proved
understand
himself.
it.
I get it too, but I'm
Yeah, I
like,
get it.
that makes no sense because all the other people could say the same thing.
Yeah, you're right. But
they weren't laying down.
But to him, they were. I don't think he believed that those fights were real. So.
Either way, but
But
it's
at
crazy
the
to
same
me.
time, if I would have been forced, if I really didn't want to fight this guy, and I'm being forced to fight him, I would have tried to take him out quick, fast, and in a hurry. I wouldn't have played around with him. Or
I will say though that was a real thing though. Like he really couldn't get fights. And this is this is gonna be an interesting story that I've heard, and I don't know how true it is. I actually didn't even hear it from my coach. It was his coach that mentioned this one time when he was teaching a class to us. And I always wanted to ask him, but I didn't because I figured it's probably like a sensitive subject. So he couldn't get fights, and that's like a real thing. But this is also another thing. Supposedly, I guess he was supposed to go to the Ultimate Fighter, and he got picked. And on his way to getting picked, they told him, "Never mind, don't come," and he had to go all the way back. And I think it was because of his one arm, and that was like a thing. And I'm saying when he said that, he made it his coach told us that in the class, almost made it seem he was on his way, whether he's in an airport or driving, whatever it was, he was on his way. And then they said, actually, never mind.
I could see, but I mean, I could see what the opponent was saying. I could see more fighters saying that and being like that, especially in Tough and the UFC. Like those guys are not going to want to fight him and lose to him, and they don't get. They probably feel like they're not getting anything out of it. How would you feel if you beat the hell out of a one-armed guy? You gonna probably feel bad. That might mess your head up.
I'm gonna be honest.
He got in here like everybody else.
I was about to say,
Joe don't have no feelings.
No, listen.
Well, I'm just saying he knows. He knew what he was getting into.
Yes.
Listen, I say this honestly, man, and I was a truly. I probably would never say this. I never say this about anybody else. I'll say it about my coach though. Like most of the time when I come home from sparring nights, I have black eyes or my forehead's all bruised, black and blues everywhere. It's always from him. I swear to God, it's not from anyone else. And that's not no shame on anyone else. But it's I don't know how to explain it. But it's I can fight him and we'll spar, and I would feel like I'm having a great day, and I'll literally be like, oh, I left with no marks, and I wake up the next day and I have the meanest black and blue, the meanest bruise over my it's crazy. So to be honest, I know people actually say that. And oh, I don't want to it's a lose-lose, but I'm dude,
bro, don't play.
Yeah, the man can freaking fight, so it don't matter. What are you gonna the dude can fight? And he ended up going to the Contender Series I think the media pressured Dana White into it, so they put him on the Contender Series.
Well, and that leads us right to because he was not being able to get sanctioned for this fight, which was
Yeah.
crazy to me because this should have been a huge promotion. I mean, this guy worked his way up. He's busting. This could have been good for this company, and they don't want to sanction it. So
I think
now
that's
they gotta appeal this. Go ahead.
I think that's an insurance thing also. Like they're looking after themselves to make sure that they don't get their ass sued also.
Okay, but
Yeah,
they let him fight all the way to
I was just about
the
to say. I'm about to
championship.
say I understand that, but so like I understand that, but like you already had him fight 6 fights already on the under the promotion to then say, hey, we don't think it's safe for you to fight. It's kind of like that just doesn't make sense. That's like them saying that's like Bernard Hopkins fighting all those years being over age, and then they go, "Hey, never mind, we're not gonna let you fight no more." Like, yo, I already done
Exactly.
fought 5-10 times over the age of 40. You might as well just let me keep going. So
Yeah. So the mom kind of really gets the people on this one because she says a whole lot to them, but the number one thing she says is like, he's got a following now. So we could take this to the news. We could take this to social media. Like, if you all really want to go there, we'll go there. And he literally said, "Is that a threat?" And the mom's like, "No, that's a promise. Like, you
Mhm.
better believe it." She's sticking up for her son because she's been doing that her whole life. So yeah, she's gonna do whatever she has to. And so that does eventually sway things to go his way, and they let him fight. And then we go to the fight, and it's a good fight. But the funny thing is about this fight is, so the fight lasted in this movie 3 rounds, but
Yes.
at the end they show us the real fight. So
Yes.
was that the third round, or do you think
No.
the fight lasted 1 round?
It lasted one round, right, Angel? I think that's what it said. That he won in 70 something seconds.
no, that
Yeah,
was his. That was the first one he did.
But I thought that's what the notes had said at the end. I thought at the end of the fight it
He did
said
win. He did win in the first round. He did win in the first round.
yeah.
I don't know how long it took, but he did win in the
Yeah, I
first.
thought it said I could have swore I read that he won in a couple seconds, or a few seconds or whatever.
so I mean, everybody was wrong.
Yeah.
He was They had him as a huge underdog, and then they had to extend the fight in the movie just to give us a good fight. That's crazy. That's amazing.
Right.
And yeah, and that's how this thing ends. His whole family. Oh, by the way, his mom worked at a restaurant until she got her nurse's license, I'm assuming, because the son used $1,000 he got from that fight that he lost to
Hmm.
give his mom back the ability to pay for her nursing degree. And at the end of this, at the restaurant, she introduced her son to a kid in the same situation, missing a piece of his forearm and his hand, and he invited that kid to the fight. And the kid played baseball, so I wonder if he introduced him to Jim Abbott down the road. I feel like if the kid was into baseball, that would have been something kind of cool.
Man, I was wondering how many armless people are there out here because I've never ran into anybody
There's,
without an arm, and I'm
there's a
like,
guy who fights in one championship who's armless.
really?
Yeah,
Really?
he's just like my. I think it looks just like my coaches.
Hmm.
And the dude's a really good Muay Thai fighter. Really, really good. He's about to fight for the one championship from Muay Thai.
Do you remember,
I'm gonna look that up now.
He's
Joe? Do you
really
remember?
good.
You remember
Jake
Zach
Peacock.
Gowen?
Jake Peacock.
You remember Zach Gowen? He was a wrestler, a pro wrestler. He had one
Oh
like he was in
yeah,
the yeah. He wrestled. He's from here, in Michigan, and he made it to the WWF slash EWWE, one of them, whatever it is. He made it there and will wrestle. And I always worried about him wrestling because I always wondered, like, man, like he literally has one leg. Like, how long is this going to last? Like, he wrestled with my uncle and Malcolm's organization. I've seen him wrestle before he made it to WWE, and he got really really popular in WWE. He's in some organization now. I just saw him on something not long ago. But that goes to just show you, man, like your only limits is your mind. You know, one
100%.
one leg wrestler, one arm MMA fighter, you know, and wrestler. That's something. I don't know if I would have done that. I really don't know.
I mean, it takes a lot of heart and dedication, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And that was pretty much the end of the movie. You guys got anything else to say about it? It was a good movie.
Yeah,
To
I
be
enjoyed
honest
that.
with you, man, and I'm not even saying about this because it's my coach's movie. Just what you said, it was just simple. Like me knowing the backstory, obviously, I'd be like, oh, like they missed out some stuff. But I'm also like, it's a 90-minute movie. They kind of squeeze whatever they can in. But it was good though. Like how you said, it was just simple,
I'd
So,
watch it again.
yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot. I'd give it an A for sure.
Yeah,
Angel, I think you got to give it an A.
I have
Or you
it.
gonna get, or you gonna get choked out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it an A also, man.
Angel's giving it an A plus.
Absolutely.
So, are you even gonna tell your coach that we did this, or are you just gonna wait till he shows up for one of these? Oh, you
We'll
are.
see. We'll see how I feel. Maybe both.
Okay, let's see how that goes. All
Yeah.
right. All right. So, what are we doing next? Got anything in mind?
This one, so it's you guys.
What do you
All
think,
right,
Joe?
so I kind of forgot about this movie, and it keeps coming up on Prime. Let's see if it's still there. Not. I don't think there's a whole bunch of karate in this, but it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. But it is a good movie, and it does have so much. Time Cop.
Did we watch that?
That has Dennis Rodman.
No, Time Cop. No, Dennis Rodman is Double Team. Time Cop is he can travel back in time to stop crime.
Okay. All right. Well, we can watch it. I want to say we watched it, but I don't know. I have no idea. But let's do it.
No, we never watched this one.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do it then. I got no problem with it. Time.
Yeah,
Cop.
I haven't seen it in a long time, so I'm kind of curious.
Okay. All right. Cool. Anything else?
Oh man, I'm good.
That's good. Okay. And then this week, Joe and I are doing the rebooted version of RoboCop. The RoboCop that came out in 2014. We're doing that over at Superflix. This could be the last RoboCop movie. We already did RoboCops 1, 2, and 3. God awful movies to me. God awful movies.
Not great.
Hopefully this reboot of RoboCop will be a little bit better. It has to be better than the other ones. Has to.
Definitely.
All right, everyone. Stay safe, stay strong. We'll holler at you next week, and I will play our music.
Disaster must come. At best, only postponed. Shaolin Kung Fu, to survive, must now be taught to more young men.